Today I'm going to talk about death by stoning, the procedure of death by stoning, and what our United Nations has done to prevent from people doing death by stoning in our United States. In 1984, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhumane, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, in which torture is defined as any act by which severe pain or suffering, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted on a person for such purposes as punishing him for an act he has committed or is suspected of committed. Although Iran failed to sign this convention, 50 nations, including Nigeria, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, are parties to the agreement. Due to such a strong international acceptance, this convention is no longer merely an agreement, but rather rises to the level of customary law. According to its binds, our nation, in addition its signatures, moreover, the incorporation of the right to freedom from torture and cruel, inhumane, or degrading punishment into 81 national constitutions further render the precision a general principle of law. Under this convention, the definition of an act of torture is any act which causes severe pain or suffering, excluding pain and suffering which results from lawful sensations. Let's begin with some quotes from the Bible. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stone till they die. Then thou shalt bring out the damsel to the doors of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die. Then she shall bring them both unto the gates of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die. Stoning is a form of capital punishment and is carried out in the name of Islam. This is done in order to intimidate and terrorize the public. Since taking over office, not once has Mohammed Khatami uttered a word against stoning. In fact, his government spokesman and guidance minister said in recent interviews that he approves of stoning, but that it should be carried out in the presence of a small group of people whose loyalty to the regime is established so as to prevent the news or films of the horrific scene from being made available to the Iranian public and the rest of the world. How is this done? The condemned are wrapped head to foot in white shroud and buried up to their waists. Soon after the stoning begins, the stones are specifically chosen so they are large enough to cause pain, but small enough to not to kill the condemned immediately. The stoning usually lasts about 10 to 20 minutes, but it could go on until the condemned is dead. They are guaranteed a slow, torturous, and inhumane death, and sometimes the punisher could be so cruel and force the children to watch the person being stoned. The codes for stoning. They mostly pertain to adultery, but the codes are adultery under Article 83 of the Penal Code. The law of Hudud is flogging, 100 lashes of the whip, for unmarried male and female offenders. Married offenders may be punished by stoning regardless of their gender, but the method laid down for a man involves his bureau up to his waist, and for a woman up to her neck. Article 104 provides that the stone should not be so large that a person dies after being hit with two of them, nor so small as to be defined as pebbles, but must cause severe injury. This makes it clear that the purpose of stoning is to inflict grievous pain on the victim, in process leading his or her slow death. These codes are harsh, but the Iranians don't seem to think so. Although there's no such code of what to do when someone releases himself from the dirt and tries to escape, but I did find two instances when it happened. On August 10, 1994, in the city of Arak, a woman was sentenced to death by stoning. According to the ruling of the religious judge, her husband and two children were forced to attend the execution. The woman urged her husband to take the children away, but they didn't. Then later, a truck full of stones was brought in to use during the stoning. In the middle of the stoning, although her eyes had been gouged out and she was able to escape from the ditch, and she started running. But the regime's guard recaptured her and shot her to death. Another instance I found in October 1989 in the city of Qom. A woman who was being stoned managed to pull herself out of the hole, only to be forced back into it and stoned to death. In justifying the murders, the judges, generally speaking, legal religious decreases on someone condemned to stoning call for her stoning if her guilt was proven on the basis of witness testimonies, even if she were to escape in the middle of the administration of the sentence, she must be returned and stoned to death. In conclusion, I have provided the general steps and procedures the Iranians and other countries use to sentence someone to death. Although the steps they use are horrifying and should not be allowed, they are, and unless something is done, they will continue and possibly get worse. Moreover, to end with a good note, if any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw the first stone.